There are a lot of iconic fights that will go down in history. Goku vs Frieza, Ten vs Screen Time, JoJo fans vs a good sense of humor, and most importantly, Aomine vs Kagami, which is why we're covering this legendary squabble today. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, you guys need to understand the emotions going into this legendary fate. Aomine and Kagami are both very similar, but the current difference between them is that Aomine is suffering from success, meaning that Kagami can still play basketball for the love of the game, but Aomine has to actively nerf himself by missing practice and skipping matches just to feel any sliver of joy from basketball. He even pulled up to Serene vs Toho late in the second half because he got distracted from gooning to Yabba Dabba Doo. And as expected, Aomine absolutely dog walks Kagami. His team already had a 10-point lead on Serene in the first place, so he may not have even needed to play, but joining the match just doubled the score. Aomine is simply that guy. So after Aomine gave Kuroko PTSD and put Serene in a slump, the team went through multiple training camps where they had to suffer eating the coach's buns cooking, and Kagami even went back to America, which is basically the dark continent in sports animes. And let me remind you guys, some people in this anime have literal superpowers. The green-haired guy can shoot breeze from literally anywhere. The yellow-haired guy has a built-in Sharingan. The pink-haired guy has Conqueror's Haki. And Aomine is just a freak of nature who is really fast and has an unorthodox playstyle. Basically, he plays basketball in creative mode. So, if you're gonna go through 2 training camps, plus America, and your hair has color in the Kuroko no Basket universe, then you might unlock All for One or Ultra Instinct at that point. So the rematch starts off with Aomine dunking on Serene, but then Kuroko fires back with his new move, the Ignite Pass Kai, where Kuroko turns the ball into a Rasengan, and it's so powerful that the ball even passes Aomine, allowing for Serene to equalize. So the first time Kagami and Aomine mock each other in the game, he realized he'd get dog walked, so he passes to Neji for now, and Kuroko's not the only one who's learned new tricks. You see, Neji figured out Toho's inside was too strong and preventing Serene from scoring, so he plans to draw out their defense. Neji is known for shooting threes, but in the last game, Takamichi locked him down. But now that Neji can flash step, he's able to spam threes again, but Takamichi ain't gonna let that slide. Tokyo Revengers ended years ago, so he don't gotta act like a coward no more. So both Neji and Takamichi go 3 for 3 until the quarter ends, with no unfolding, and Kuroko tries to tip the balance with his dimension hopping, but Aomine got tired of the ref ignoring Kuroko's Toon Force. Ref, do something! He's teleporting and blasting the Sengons on the court again. So he fully shuts down Kuroko's vanishing drive with pure instinct, which rage baited Kuroko into using another Rasengan, but Aomine doesn't fall for the same trick twice. He's familiar with Kuroko's game and proceeds to dunk on bro yet again. After Aomine destroyed hours of hard work in a matter of seconds, Kuroko gets benched and his spirit is currently broken. So it's up to Kagami now to raise morale until Kuroko is ready to lock in again, and Kagami's had enough time to warm up, to the point where him and Aomine are currently equally matched and scoring on each other. The more one-on-ones Kagami has with the Generation of Miracles, the quicker his Maharaga adaptation into the Rainbow Prodigy community becomes a reality. Now that Kuroko's locked in again, he gets back on the court and starts doing ignite passes with all his team members, because they've all improved, so it's possible now. And during his time away, he realized that if Aomine is familiar with his game, then surely the opposite is true as well. So Kuroko can intercept Aomine mid-play, even if he's slowly starting to break the stalemate with Kagami to delay Serene's pending ass-whooping. And the ass-whooping begins with Aizen locking off Kuroko after Sakura spelled out how to counter every single trick in Kuroko's playbook that she developed through years of gooning and deriding Kuroko throughout middle school. And to top it all off, Kuroko's stamina ran out, meaning he's a less than average player at the moment. But when Aizen started chatting about how Serene should try again next year, that lit a fire in the first years, because this year is their last chance to play with their senpai. And when your senpai graduates in a sports anime, that's the equivalent of getting impaled by 100 spears and then dying a slow death as you bleed out. So Kuroko was forced to use his 100th trump card, Misdirection Overflow, which only works when Kuroko is pushed into overtime. Now that everyone's focus is on Kuroko, his teammates can use the Vanishing Drive, since the trick to it originally was for people's focus to shift to Kagami so that Kuroko could dimension hop. But the drawback is that if Serene plays Toho in the future, they're gonna get their backs blown out, because Toho has now seen every trick up Serene's sleeve, and they're gambling everything on this moment, which is good because gambling is one of the world's healthiest habits to develop. And to be fair, Serene were catching up to Toho's score, but before they could close the gap to single digits before the quarter ended, Aizen, who isn't even a free specialist, scored one just to make sure the gap was still in the double digits, and as a generational hater, only Aizen could make a ridiculous play like that work. Before the last quarter began, Sakura was giving out instructions, but Aomine wasn't listening, which is something he did in the past against strong opponents, meaning he was returning to his old self. In other words, Seirin were cooked. But for the time being, Kuroko carries the team with his plays like getting Kagami and Teppei to 3v1 Aomine so that he would miss his shots because of the misdirection overflow. But all these tricks finally pushed Aomine into his final form where he enters the zone, and this can only be achieved if goated and locked in with basketball. But Kagami was having an existential crisis after losing too many one-on-ones, so to prevent his senpai from evaporating into the atmosphere, he entered the zone as well out of necessity, and the whole zone clash was absolute cinema. I for real had to stand up from the toilet and applaud, especially when Kagami slapped the ball out of Aomine's hand and he fell on the floor. Kagami's really come a long way, so at this point both of their zones have run out and they're back to playing in a normal state. So Kagami goes for a dunk, but Aomine blocks it because it's predictable, or so we thought. You see, Kagami has been training his left hand to become more dominant by gooning since summer, so that he can master aerial combat, and he was able to do this in this moment by turning the dunk into a pass to Teppei to let him score a last minute 2-pointer. Seirin and Toho are now neck and neck, and Teppei gets the free throw, but Aomine smacks the rebound away so that Aizen could chase the ball, but Kuroko uses observation haki to get there first and passes to Kagami so that he can get the winning dunk, and there we go. Absolute cinema. Aomine gets a little broed into fist bumping Kuroko and getting sympathetic words from Kagami. And you guys liked, subscribed, commented on this video. See you all in the next video.